Okay, we've had a good look at our main component here, the top level component app.js. We've seen how these two buttons were hooked up and somewhat how the top card is then displayed and then how all the hands are traversed through and those structures are created as well. So we haven't drilled down into these subcomponents, which I have in a folder called gameplay here. So let's look at show hand. Actually, let's look at show card because that's essentially the top card here. We're going to return show card here, and then pages, which is all of our hands, and that's why we have these hands down here. So show hand is what we want to look at, or show card is what we want to look at next. So show card here is this component is rendered, then which creates this. So if it initial, it's going to go show the small card's back. So in the initial game state, remember the back of the card is shown, and that's the hard coded here. Otherwise, it's the translated card, color, and value. And let's take a look at how value and color get set. This .props top discard. So how did the props get set? Remember, we set it back here. So this sets the props for the card here, top discard from this.state.game.card played. So every time that top card is rendered, that's what it's going to show there. We use translate card that we developed in Milestone 2 to give us a file name that we're going to show. And then we return a div, which has a figure that comes from React Bootstrap that provides us with a caption here. And yeah, pretty straightforward there. Source is image, and title. All right, let's look at show cards. Or rather, show hand. Okay, a little bit more complicated here. I have various ways of extracting the properties here. Again, properties come from the top level component when it describes what will look like attributes in HTML. Get turned into these. We have hand, cards, player name, and player number, all of which are set in the main component app.js. We'll revisit that real quick after we take a look at here. Well, I'm going to use pages and names here. And image file names. So I want to show push the special card if cards.length, that is the hand and cards. If that length is 0, then I push iwin.png. So I added that file to the small cards folder, and it's just an image I found on the internet. Otherwise, it's going to do cards.map to transform card into the card name. So in either case, this kind of irons out the special case here. So cards.length is a special case, that is no hands in the card, meaning that player won. So I push one image onto the stack, essentially, image file names iwin.png onto that, and then image file names get mapped from what the server calls them into what we call them as file names here via translate card that we developed in Milestone 2. So image file names gets built. And then we traverse image file names length, pushing onto our pages each one of the images that we found there. Column with a key, a top level component has to be keyed. Then within that we can put the image in each one of the columns that we're going to use. And we have the title, the source, the alternate image, and the style set to 5 rem. Remember, this is the root em, 5 characters high, and that's true of top card as well. So they all have the same height. And pretty much that's it. So, oh yeah, and names push, that's outside this array here because we want one name for every one of the arrays. So this gets built as a component. This is another component. It's called names, another type of component that's going to flower out below in a row of its own. So I have a bootstrap container with a row for the cards. That's what comes out of pages, and a row for the names. That's what comes out of what I built here with Laverne, Sally, Mike, and Crystal. Okay, since this is a React component, we have to export it. Oh, and let me show you the one modification that I had to make to our utility method. So in here, utilities methods, translate card, pretty much comes from Milestone 2, as you recognize. Everyone has a little bit different, but you do have to add this, export default translate card. Every JS component, which is really JSX, and in a React is assumed to be a module. So we need to export the symbol, otherwise it'll be a private symbol inside of this file. So that's one modification we needed to make there. So I think that's pretty much what you need to see to develop your own version of this. Keep in mind, this is a result of some work to do this. So I imagine, even though you have examples before you, that it's going to take you some time. When you initially develop, by the way, this show hand, it's developed code now, but all you need to really do in the render method is put a paragraph there that says, oh, I have this. Essentially a log method. You even do console log. This is some place where you can add console log as well. The render method will be called no matter what's in there. So you can put console log there. I have this information. Remember, this information needs to be set up in app.js or whoever flowers out this component. So the properties that it knows about are set up here. Key, initial, hand. Player name. So 4 of these, right? So this driving loop would say, well, however many hands I have, that's however many of these subcomponents get created in the pages array. All right. Good luck on your development.